Greetings YouTube and welcome to my next weapons build. I picked up this as salvage. It is a bracket of some variety. I have no idea what kind. And it got me inspired. And I thought I recently made a wasteland guitar, essentially, a pointed fist. And it had three threaded rods that came out of the end. And I thought it was kind of cool. But I thought, I could still play with that idea a little bit more. But instead of points, let's make it a little different. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to knock off these little flanges here, get rid of them, so it's just straight. And then I'm going to take these two pieces of steel, and these are just L brackets I picked up at the hardware store. And drill two holes, boom, boom, and use a couple of 1/4-inch bolts and some acorn nuts, because I just happen to have acorn nuts available because I kind of like the look. And sharpen them. So this will all be sharpened edges when I'm finished. And then bolt them to there so that that's going to be the impact of this weapon. Now, as a handle, I'm going to use threaded rod to hold it together and two pieces of steel tubing like I did in the other, so you'll have one just inside the end. If I can manage it, it's going to be as close as I can get it, and then one probably 3/4 of an inch up so that I can get my hand in like this. And the only thing that's going to be on the inside here will be the little domes of those two bolts, or longer bolts. I think those are the size I need. I don't think I have to do anything to these. I think they're just the right size to get through 3 layers of steel. These two, and then this one up here. So that would mean that I don't have to monkey with trying to get bolts the right size. It's just tedious because they're small. You're trying to get in there with a belt sander, trying to knock off threads so you can get the right size. It's a pain in the butt. So this is going to need to have these two flanges removed. Then I'll have to do some layout and find the center, and then drill the two holes in this. So this is not going to need a great deal of, the top will not need a great deal of modification. The only thing that's going to need any kind of real make sure I get it perfect is going to be here, because I need to come up with the centering here, and then at the two holes on both sides so that I can mount the handle, which will be 2 pieces of this and 2 pieces of this, and that's all I'm going to need. I already had the tubing, I had the thread, I had the nuts, I had the bolts, I had the acorn nuts, so none of that costing me anything on this project. This was free, and this was $4 and change, like $4.25 for these two brackets. So this whole project is coming in under $5 US. Admittedly, I have absorbed the cost for these items in the past, but for example, these came out of an estate sale, and I got an entire jar for like $2. These came out of a similar estate sale, picked up an entire jar of nuts for $1, $2. So even though I paid for them in the past, I didn't pay a lot for a lot of my fasteners are very inexpensive because I picked them up at estate sales and yard sales. These two were bought new, but again, the cost for this was absorbed in the project I used with the wasteland guitar. So for this project, they are free, which is kind of nice. Reusing things you already have really does drive the cost down. And I mean, literally, the only thing I went to the hardware store to buy was this stuff. I knew I would be able to find everything else for my project in my shop, so that's nice. And only having to drill 2 holes for this is going to be pleasant as well, because if I turn them the other way around, the 2 center holes line up, which means it only gives me 1 point of contact, whereas if I do these 2 sides together, I get 2 points, which is much more stable and keeps things from racking, which is always nice. So first thing I'm probably going to do is get my angle grinder out. I think I have the cutoff disc on there, and then come in here and cut these off this way, because I want to preserve as much of this as I can, and then I will take it to the belt sander and clean it up so that it looks a little bit better. Yeah, and just chuck these. I don't know, maybe I can save them and turn them into brackets. I don't know, we'll find out. But at the moment, that's the first step. Cut these things off. So I have the flanges off, I rounded the corners just because I like the look. And I have laid out my 2 marks where I want them for my 2 holes, where I'm going to drill 2 1/4-inch holes, because that's all I need for these 2 plates. Once those 2 1/4-inch holes are completed, then the top of this plate is done. Then I'm going to have to set up to do the 2 holes here, and it's a weird measurement because this thing is 3.074 inches wide. That's a weird size. A little bit over 3 inches. So the center of this is 1.537 inches. Probably a degree of specificity a post-apocalyptic weapons build does not require, but that's just the way I think. So I have my 1/4-inch drill bit in there, and so I'm going to go blow those 2 holes through, and I just laid this out by, I made the line for the center line, put this on there where I was happy, inked it, and then put 2 punches in there. So now it's just to drill those 2 holes, and again, that will complete the top. Then it's going to be time for layout, and I will probably drill these as 1/4-inch holes to start, because I have a really nice 1/4-inch drill bit that I can use, and then I will open up larger, because I think the threaded rod I have is 3/8. I'll have to measure it to be sure. I don't remember. But yep, time for some hole drilling. So these 2 holes are done, and I've now laid out the marks for my next 4 holes. I indexed off the same size, again 5.357 inches in. I put this hole is going to be 2.1 inches down, and this will be 1/2 an inch higher than that, so 1.6 inches from the top. That gave me a consistent measurement, because obviously I can't come off of this, because this is where I cut the flanges off, and I can't guarantee that I cut them off exactly the same length. I had my angle grinding blade, my cutoff blade at a 45-degree angle to get into that corner, so I don't know the exact distance, but I can then index off the top, and that gives me a consistent measurement. And again, if everything isn't perfect, I can fudge a hole a little bit with the drill bit and kind of walk it open a little bit if things don't fit perfectly. So the first thing I need to do is drill 2 1/4-inch holes, and then I can open those up to 3/4 inches, which is what those rods are. I did check. So there, the holes are complete. And I just measured this, and the distance is 5 1/8. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of tubing, 5 1/8 inch long, and then I will cut 2 pieces of threaded rod that are a little bit longer than 5 1/8. I'll figure out the exact amount, because I'll be using these, which is the big advantage of a standard hex over an acorn hex is I can actually see where the threads bottom out on the outside, as well as you can't really see it clearly on the inside of an acorn nut, because the top of the acorn nut is obscuring your vision. So I can do some measurements, because I'm going to want the threads to come out all the way to the end of the nut. So a few more cuts, and we're ready for assembly. Well, no, we're not ready for assembly, James. We have to sharpen these damn things. So a few more cuts, and we're done with all the machining. Then we have to do the sharpening. Forgot the sharpening part. So I set up my angle grinder here, and then I sharpen this. Now, because it's a lot easier to work on the outside of this bracket than the inside, I went with a chisel grind, and I just kind of did a vague tanto-ish kind of thing going on with the corners. I didn't think I needed to do the sides. That's enough of an impact in my book. And it's not razor sharp, but it has an edge, and when propelled by an entire fist covered in steel plates, this is going to have a fair amount of impact energy. So all the pieces are here, so now it's time to assemble the project. Hey, I screwed up again. Put the things too close together. I can't get my nuts on. Yeah, double entendre. So this is more than a smidge problematic. So what I can do is make those slots instead of holes, and then move the rod out to the edge, all the way to the edge, and then tighten it down. And that should give me the distance I need. Because I'm afraid if I go in deeper, because I don't have a lot of, I mean, I got enough space for my hand on the top one. Between me and the top is fine, because I'll have the two in bolt heads or nut. Yeah, they're going to be right there. That's not a problem. The problem is I can't really move my hand up much further. So moving this forward really destroys that limitation. It makes that a major limitation. So I really need to tighten this one up. So this will be the main handle, and then slots here, and then clamp it, and that will be to fill up the space so I don't get a torque. You know, so it doesn't torque in my hand, because right now it can do that, but two of them it can't. So yeah, tighten this down, get it so that the heads are as parallel, like this one is at the moment, so that they're nice and straight like that, and then put the slot in there. That's the only thing I can do. That's the only thing I can do. Crap. I already took my headphones and my hearing protection and my eye protection off, because I thought I was in the final stages, but I'm not. Alright, so 2 more cuts on each side. I think we can make this work. Damn it. So there we go. Here is the bladed fist in all its glory. The slot idea did in fact work. The inside one is the one doing the bulk of the job. It is tightened down to its absolute maximum, and it is going through the plate, and this is just in that notch. But I still was able to tighten it down a hell of a lot. It's not going anywhere. Those 2 bolt heads are nice and flush. They're no danger to my hand. And now we have these 2 edges right there. And this is going to hit like a train. This looks something right out of Fallout 4. It really does. Just gonna be a devastating weapon. So damn cool. And like I said, it was a low entry. I mean, all of this was just holes and a little sharpening, and that was it. I just should have laid this out. If I'd put this like maybe a 1/4 of an inch further out, I think I would have made it. Just a 1/4 inch. I think I could have made everything work, but it didn't. So, you know, learn a lesson from my mistake. Lay out your lines better. Remember, you have to take into account that your fasteners have 3 dimensions. Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. So now time to take some stills for the photo and for the video and for my DeviantArt, and I'm done. So if you don't follow me on DeviantArt and Instagram, you should. I post cute cat pictures on Instagram as well as weapon builds, and DeviantArt is the permanent home for the stills for the builds I make. So thank you for being here for this build, and I hope that you will return for the next one.